आलयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We saw in the last class that Nachiketa promised to tell him, son Nachiketa, Yamadharmaraja promised to tell Nachiketa details of that Agni, that ritual by which one can gain Svargaloka. What did he tell him? How much detail did he give him? Will come in the next verse. So now, in the next verse, earlier it was conversation with Nachiketa and Yamadharmaraja. The next verse, neither of them is speaking. Shruti herself says what was told. What was told by Yamadharmaraja to Nachiketa. Shruti says, Idam Shrutehe Vachanam
Idam Shrutehe Vachanam
Lokadimagnim Tamuvacha Tasmai
Lokadimagnim Tamuvacha Tasmai
Ya Ishtaka Yavatirva Yathava
Ya Ishtaka Yavativa Yathava
Chapi Tat Pratyavadatyathoktam
Tacapi
Tapit
Tatyavadatyathoktram
Asya Mrityu Punareva Hatushtha
Atasya
Samrityu Punareva
Mrityu
Tushtaha
Idam Shrutehe Vachanam. The what Shruti said, Vachanam, Shruti says. What does it say? Tam Lokadim Agnim. Tam Agnim, and he qualified by calling it Lokadi. Lokadim Agnim. Tam Vacha. He told, he meaning here, Yamadharmaraja told that Agni, Svargyam Agni, Tam Vacha, to whom? Tasmai, to Nachiketa. He told Nachiketa this details of this Agni called, here he called it Lokadim. We will see what it is. Lokadim Agnim Tam Vacha. What kind of details does he give? It doesn't, the Shruti itself will not specify the details. Shruti will broadly paint a picture saying he told all the details, including what is the samagri, what are the bricks that you should have, how the brick, the kunda should be built, what size, what form, all that is included when he says, Ya ishtaka yavatirva yathava. Ishtaka is so even at the time of the Upanishad, brick making technology was available. We've also seen this in excavations in Mohenjo-daro, etc., where construction is done using nicely formed bricks, not new. Water canals were built using bricks. So the technology for making bricks was known even at that time. So ya ishtaka, the bricks that need to be used, yavathirva yathava. Yavati is how many of them do you need? What kind of formation should you have? Yavatirva yathava. Stop here for the moment. This Agni Kunda, these days we see generally when we do any homa, this Agni Kunda is square in shape. And we use typically about 38 to 40 bricks. When the Panditji builds that, very beautifully they build it. But depending upon what the Yajamana wants, what is it that he's trying to get, and what is the nature of the yajna, the complexity of building this kunda goes on increasing. There are yajnas for which they use as many as 720 bricks of different shapes and sizes. In fact, a lot of the knowledge of geometry comes from here. Imagine, this is at the time of writing of the Veda. And these bricks had various shapes. Square, rectangle, right angle triangles, isosceles triangles, rhombuses, all kinds of shapes were available. So they knew how to make bricks of different shapes. How many bricks you needed of different shapes to create that complex form of the Agni Kunda. I don't know if these are done now by anybody, but there are people who are very knowledgeable about all this. This is all given in the Brahmana portion of the Veda. So here in the Upanishad, you will not go into details. That is not the Tatparya of the Upanishad to give you details of how to perform Nachiketa Agni. You want that? Go back to the Vedas and study the Brahmana. But here, he does say that these details are given because if Nachiketa has to pass it on to other people when he goes back to Martyaloka, he needs to know absolute details. Not only does he need to know, he also needs to remember. He also needs to thoroughly understand and remember how many bricks are required, what shapes and sizes, how to build this, what is the process you use for this, what are the various materials you require, what is the sequence of operation, everything he needs to know. Okay, you can't make an error in this. Then the yajna will not produce the phala that he is looking for. So lots of details are there. So here he says, Ya ishtaka yavatirva yathava, how to build the kunda, etc. But the fact is, people in the past, we have seen in various Puranas and various Itihasa stories, how kings did a lot of different yajna. Ashwamedha yajna. Kathopanishad yajna is probably relatively simpler. Or the kind of yajna that Nachiketa's father has been doing. Very complex yajna with very high purpose. The Yajamana who does that, when he makes the Sankalpa, Mamo Partha Samastha Durita Kshaya Dwara, I am doing this for achieving this. So, depending upon what he's trying to achieve, and going to Svargaloka is not a small achievement. And this particular yajna, now called Nachiketa Agnihi, is not a one-off affair. Okay, one day you call everybody and do this thing and finish it. I'm told that it starts on a Chaitra Amavasya. And it continues into the next Chaitra Amavasya. I don't know how many of them you have to do because I'm going to find out. But it's not a one-off affair. It's a very major affair. That people are, I'm not sure if you go to some very traditional places, they still may do this kind of yajna. But definitely this was being done long time ago for a very long time. Till we were brainwashed to think that these will not work. Now, I read somewhere that there's a place called Purola in Uttarakhand. In the excavations there, they found a Shena, Chiti. Chiti is the Agni process. Very complex thing in the shape of a flying Garuda. And that they've got the details of that. In fact, I have some pictures I can share it with you after the class. And it uses 200 bricks of different shapes and sizes. Square bricks, triangular bricks, rectangle triangle bricks. Because if you have to make the shape of a flying Garuda with two wings, head, beak, tail, etc., you need all kinds of shapes. And what is interesting about this is that detail given is there are 200 bricks, okay? And of these 200 bricks, how many bricks of this shape are required for the head? How many bricks of this shape are required for the body? How many of this shape and size are required for the tail, for the wings, etc.? For different tape, it's given. It reminded me, when you have these self-assembly things that you get these days. If you go to IKEA, they will sell you a complete furniture set. You have to bring it home and assemble it yourself. And in that, there'll be a list which says 1-inch screw, 6. 2-inch screws, 4. There's some rod, 4-inch rod, 4. 6-inch rod, 12. Something like that. And then they'll give you instructions how to assemble it. Like that, this Agni Kunda was created like that. Everything was available. It's still available. Where it's like an assembly instruction. Only thing is, if you buy a Chinese product, don't try to read the instruction assemble, you'll never get it. I don't know how many of you have tried assembling something written which has come from China. It never works. So use common sense. But that is what they do, and this is available. I mean, can you imagine? This site that they found in Purola in Uttarakhand is dated to 1 and 2 BC, 1st century and 2nd century BC. And they dug out quite a bit, quite clearly visible. There's a central body, square Agni Kunda, and then there's all these other things around it, like a flying Garuda. And then complete instruction, how to build it. Like I said, how many bricks of this type you use to bring the right wing, say left wing, the head, the beak, the tail, etc., etc. Then having built it, how do you do the yajna itself? All the details available. So here from this one sentence, ya ishtaka yavatirva yathava, we can understand that Shruti says Yamadharmaraja gave him all the details required to build the kunda and also do the yajna. Lokadimagnim tamuvacha tasmai ya ishtaka yavathirva yathava. Here, Lokadim Agnim. This Agni qualified as Lokadi. Lokanam Adi. The foremost among all objects in this Jagat. What is the foremost? If you recollect how the creation is explained, there is these subtle 5 bhutas, panchabhutas, in their subtle form. From those subtle form panchabhutas, through a combination called panchikaranam, the sthula bhutas come. Sthula bhutas, everything that is physical. From the sukshma panchabhutas, all the sukshma part of the sharira come. The sthula sharira, which is the manifest, tangible forms on this earth that we know, comes from the samashti sthula. Consists of the same five bhutas in their physical form. So when you have Agni in the sukshma form, it doesn't have any physical form. But when combined with the others, it becomes a sthula Agni. Then you have form. Then you can see the Agni. And the starting point for all this, the samashti, the totality of all this sthula form is called Virat. Born of Hiranyagarbha. So from Hiranyagarbha comes the samashti Virat, which is the very cause for the Panchabhutas. And those Panchabhutas are the cause for everything which is sthula in the Jagat. So what is the first portion of this Jagat? Virat. So one name for Virat is Lokadi. The first of all of these Sthula Prapancham. The Sukshma Prapancham comes from Hiranyagarbha. The Sthula Prapancham comes from Virat. So Virat is a Devata for all that is manifest, tangible, from which everything comes. So the name Lokadi means that which is the first, from which everything originates. So that Agni, Tam Agnim, called Lokadim Agnim, that Agni, it is a Virat Upasana. You know, you can do karma at 2 levels. You can do karma as prescribed by the Vedas. It will produce a certain result. There's a phala. So when somebody does this particular Agni, Swargam Agni, one can get Swargaloka. One gains Swargaloka enjoys that for a limited period and has to return. But if one does this along with the upasana of Virat Devata, then one can go to a higher loka. That higher loka is Brahmaloka. Similar, but has one significant difference. As we said, Brahmaji's time is very different from each level of this loka, time scale is different. Brahmaji's loka is the highest form of time scale, therefore probably longer. Not only that, from Brahmaloka, from Svargaloka, you can't get moksha. From Svargaloka, you can only come back to other lokas. There is no mukti. But from Brahmaloka, there is a possibility of mukti. So moksha is possible. Kramamukti it is called. You take one step, go to Brahmaloka, and from there you gain moksha. So that's the difference. Both are possible with this Nachiketa Agni, depending upon how one treats it. It's like, I keep saying, if you read Bhagavad Gita without any understanding of the Bhagavad Gita, but just read it through, or even listen to it, there is a certain phala, there's a certain punya that you gain. It's true of anything. You listen to somebody chanting Taittiriya Upanishad, there's a phala. If you chant yourself, there's a phala. But if you understand and then chant, then you're able to meditate on what it says. Or nididhyasana. Then the phala is different. Then the phala is moksha. Otherwise, the phala is punya, atma shuddhi. Perhaps after fall of the body, attainment of some loka. Like that here also, this Nachiketa Agni can produce primarily, what did Nachiketa ask for? What is the process by which one can go to this Svargaloka? Can you give me the detail of that? That's Svargaloka where there is no pain, there is no grief, there is no hunger, there is no pain, there is no bhaya, or all for a limited period. But you can, the same Agni can gain one Brahmaloka. So, Shastra says, the Shruti says, it has the one line, Ya Ishtaka Yavatirva Yathava. How to do this, what are the bricks to use, what are the various samagri to use, all those details are given by Yamadharmaraja to Nachiketa. Now it's a very complex thing, I told you. Even to arrange the 200 bricks in that formation that needs to be arranged may not be all that easy. Remember earlier, Nachiketa himself, Yamadharmaraja was not very sure he would understand. He told him, listen very attentively. Listen with ekagrata. Now he's told him everything, hoping that he will gain that knowledge and be able to use that knowledge. What did Nachiketa do? What did Nachiketa do? What am I going to do? I'm going to take a short stretch break. Please give me a minute. My back has been hurting, and I've just got a reminder that get up and please stretch your back. So what did Nachiketa do? Sachapi, let's read this. Sachapi tat pravyavadatyatoktam
Sachapi tat pratyavadatyatthoktam
Athasya mrityu punarevaha tushtaha.
athasya mrityuhu punarevaha tushtaha.
A little word which looks little like a tongue twister. Tat pratyavadat yathoktam. Tat prati avadat yatha uktam. As was said by Dharmaraja, yatha uktam. What did Nachiketa do? Tat prati avadat. He repeated whatever Yamadharmaraja said, all the details. And I can imagine not being very easy. All the details, Nachiketa repeated verbatim. He must be having a very sharp mind, like Vivekananda. So he listened attentively, absorbed everything that was said, and Sacha api, Nachiketa also repeated word by word everything that Yamadharmaraja said to him. Now, in anybody, that will be very impressive. And in a small boy, it can be quite amazing. So what happened? Mrityuhu tushtaha. Hearing this, Yamadharmaraja was very pleased. Tushtaha. Tushtaha is santushtaha. One who is very happy, very pleased. Santosham we all know. Tushtaha comes from, Santosham comes from there only. Yamadharmaraja was very pleased to hear Nachiketa, because I told you he looked like he had some doubt in his mind whether Nachiketa will be able to understand what he's telling him, the details he's giving him. But he was happy. Mrityuhu tushtaha. Having gained that level of happiness, that I have a student who is brilliant, who can absorb anything, any teacher would love it. To have a student who is really good. But we always get a mixed bag. So, mrityuhu tushtaha atha asya punareva aha. Being very pleased, being extremely pleased with Nachiketa, the teacher Yamadharmaraja again said, Punha eva aha. So this is the what our Shruti tells us, that this is what happened. That such a complex thing that young boy absorbed, assimilated, and was able to repeat. Let's see what the Bashyam says. Bashyam will expand this a little bit. Lokadim,
Lokadim
Lokanam adim,
लोकानामादिं
प्रथमशरीरत्वात्
प्रथमशरीरित्वात्
अग्निं तं प्रकृतं
अग्निं तं प्रकृतं
नचिकेतसा प्रार्थितं
नचिकेतसा प्रार्थितम्
उवाच
उवाच
उत्तमान् मृत्युः उक्तवान् मृत्युः
उक्तवान् मृत्युः
तस्मै नचिकेतसे.
तस्मै नचिकेतसे
As I said earlier, lokadim means lokanam adim prathama shariratvat agnim. It is the cause, the very first sharira, thula, from which all thulas come. Lokanam adim is Parameshwara, Virat Devata. Prathama shariratvat, the first to have a form. Even amongst the Panchabhutas, Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha and Prithvi, Akasha and Vayu don't have form. First to have form is only Agni. So it's called Prathama Shariratvat. Tam Agnim, which is what is being discussed now, Prakritam, which Nachiketa had asked for. Nachiketa asked for details of that Agni, Vargyam Agni. Nachiketasa Prarthitam. Nachiketa asked for that Agni, which is Lokadim Prathama Shariratvat Agnim. That on that subject matter, Uvacha, who said Uktavan Mrityuhu. Mrityuhu Uktavan. Dharmaraja said in relation to this Agni, which is Lokadi Agni. Who did he say? To Tasmai, to him. Who is the him? Nachiketa say. To Nachiketa. Yamadharmaraja said to Nachiketa. All this is being said by who? Shruti. Said to Nachiketa about that Agni, which is the Prathama Sharira, which is under discussion, which has been asked for by Nachiketa. Nachiketa sa prathitam. And what did he say? Kincha
किञ्च
ya ishtaka chetavyaha
या इष्टकाश्चेतव्याः
swarupena
स्वरूपेण
yavatirva
यावतीर्वा
sankhya
सङ्ख्यया
yathava
यथा वा
chiyate agnihi
हीयते अग्निः
yena prakarena
येन प्रकारेण
सर्वमेतद् उक्तवान् इत्यर्थः.
सर्वमेतद् उक्तवान् इत्यर्थः
सर्वम् एतत् उक्तवान्. The Yamadharmaraja said all this. Ityartha, this Acharya's thing, this is the way you should read it. Sarvam etad uktavan. What all did he say? Ya ishtakaha. Chetavyaha. Ishtakaha, I told you, are the bricks. What kind of bricks? How many bricks? Where should they be placed? How do they form the various parts of the Agni Kunda? Ya ishtakaha chetavyaha. how they should be arranged. In what form they should be arranged. Like I told you, the forms can be very complex. Some of the Agni Kundas are circular, some of them are in various kinds of shape, octagonal, and more complex shape, like the one that was found in Urola. Huge flying Garuda shape. So it can be very complex. So, yaha ishtakaha chetavyaha. How they should create what? Swarupena. And these are all, each brick has different shape and different size. So which one should go where? Like a jigsaw puzzle. He is given all the detail. How they should be assembled. Chetavyaha, Swarupena, and Yavatirva. How many in each part? How many of the triangular ones go there? How many of the rectangular ones go there? How many of the isosceles triangles go there? That kind of creating the shape. And yathava chiyate agnihi. And how to make the Agni Kunda. This whole process called Agni Chayana. How to create the Agni Kunda. Yena prakarena. How? In what way? If you watch our Pandits doing the Agni Kunda, even for a simple homa that we do at home, it's only a simple square homa kunda they make, but there's a process there also. They use dry sand, you put the bricks in a certain way. If you watch their creating that, they put the bricks in a certain way. And then they do alankara on the bricks. They do using vibhuti and kumkumam and chandanam and flowers. There's a process. Which direction should it face? Like in the Garuda, I told you, I'm told that the face has to face east. So where should the Ritvik sit? Where should the Yajamana sit? All that is detailed. So, yena prakarena, all these details, sarvam yetat uktavan. So Yamadharmaraja gave him all the details. And Nachiketa listened very carefully. So much so that he was able to absorb every one of them. And he is not just repeating by memory, he's understood and repeating. Sachapi
Sachapi
Nachiketaha
Nachiketaha
Mrityuna Uktam
Mrityuna Muktam
Yathavat Pratyayena Avadat
Yathavat Pratyayena Vadat
Pratyuncharitavan
Pratyucharitavan
Pratyucharitavan Prati Ucharitavan. He repeated. He told him back everything that Yamadharmaraja said to him. Sachapi, and then Nachiketa told to Mrityu. Tat Mrityuna Uktam, what was said by Mrityu, as it was said, Yathavat, without making an error, without omitting anything, because you cannot afford to make an error in this kind of yajna. You won't get the phala, that's all. Although our Shastra has a very wonderful thing. No? If you make an error, there's a process for correcting that error also. Like when you write a software code, no? It's difficult to find out where you made the error. Or you're doing Sudoku. You've got a complex Sudoku and then you make an error somewhere, you really have to trace back and find out where you made the mistake. Once you find it, there is a way of handling it also. But here he wants to make sure it's understood correctly. So he says, Mrityuna uktam yathavat pratyayena avadat. He repeated all that was told to him with clarity, with understanding. Pratyucharitavan, ucharitavan. He Charitavan, one could say is pronounced, but here really meaning is he repeated, he said to Yamadharmaraja, Pratyucharitavan. Oh, Yamadharmaraja was very pleased. Here is a young Shishya whose level of understanding, whose comprehension, whose ability to retain information is so good. Yamadharmaraja, as a teacher, was extremely pleased. The word that used in the mantra is tushtaha. That Yamadharmaraja atatasya
अथ
pratyucharanena tushtaha.
प्रत्युच्चारणेन तुष्टः
You really read it. Pratyucharanena tushtaha. Son, being very pleased with the way Nachiketa repeated everything. Pratyucharanena tushtaha san, being mrityuhu punareva aha.
मृत्युः पुनरेव आह
Paratraya vyatirekena
वरत्रयव्यतिरेकेण
Anyam varam ditsuhu.
अन्यं वरं दित्सुः.
Imagine, Dharmaraja was so happy that already he had committed 3 boons to Nachiketa, relating to the 3 nights that Nachiketa spent without eating or drinking. So he's already offered him 3. There's only the second, there's one more coming. Yamadharmaraja was so pleased with him. Pratyucharanena tushtaha san mrityuhu punareva aha. Again, he said to him, Varatraya vratirekena anyam varam ditsuhu. Ditsuhu is what? I wish to give. Dadatu, to give. It's a very nice formation, no? Ditsuhu. When you want to express the desire to do something, the first letter of the dhatu gets repeated, duplicated. We have seen this in mumukshuhu. Moksha, from there, mukta is the dhatu, mukti. So, mumukshuhu, one who desires moksha is mumukshuhu.
Also jignasu also.
Mumukshuhu. Like that here, ditsuhu. I wish to give what? Varatraya vyatirekena. Other than the 3 that I've already committed to you, anyam varam. Another one more vara I'm willing to give you. Unasked for vara. I've already committed to give you 3 varas. I'm giving you one more. The Tikakara says, to know that this has been said by the Shruti, idam Shrutehe vachanamiti. This is what has been said now, not by Dharmaraja, not by Nachiketa, but the Shruti itself says, he said all this. Like Sanjaya reporting what anybody said in the battlefield to Dhritarashtra. So Shruti is repeating what was said by Yamadharmaraja to Nachiketa. How did he say it? What did he say? What did Yamadharmaraja say? Because he said, he ended up saying, Punareva aha tushtaha sanna mrityuhu punareva aha. What did he say? What did he say again? Katham
Katham
tamabravit
tamabravit
priyamano mahatma
priyamano mahatma
varam tave hadya dadami bhuyah
varam tave hadya dadami bhuyah
tavaiva namna bhavitaya magnihi
tavaiva namna bhavitaya amagnihi
Shrinkam chema maneka rupam grahana.
Shrinkadyamamane karupam grihana
Shrinkam cha imam aneka rupam grahana. Accept this shrinka. Shrinka is a mala, chain, made of precious stones. There's a bit of a question mark that should come to everybody's mind. Why is Yamadharmaraja giving one mala made of precious stones, Nachiketa, whose intelligence, whose understanding is so well seen that he is going to ask for something else. He has no interest in such a mala. Why would Yamadharmaraja give him one mala of precious stones? So Imam Aneka Rupam, varieties of precious stones in that mala. That question should arise in one's mind. It obviously occurred to Acharya also. So we will address that in the Bashyam. But is that the fourth boon he is given? Is that the fourth extra boon he is giving? No. Tam abravit priyamano mahatma. Priyamanaha, having been pleased, that Mahatma told Tam, Nachiketam. What did he say? Varam tava iha adya. Varam tave hadya. Dadami bhuyaha. I am giving you one more vara right here and now. Tava iha is here, adya is now. I am giving you another boon, another varam, iha adya dadami. One more boon I am giving you right here and now. What is that boon? He says, Tavaiva namna bhavitaya magnihi. This Agni, I'm so happy with the way you understood it. I'm so happy with the way you were able to absorb it and repeat it, that this Agni will be called by your name. You know, in science, we do that very often, or in mathematics. Leibniz equation. Give that to that person who came up with that. In the periodic table, many times the person who discovers a particular element, his name is attached to it. Or I don't know how many have heard the particle called boson. They call it God particle. But I'm told that boson comes from the two people who first conceived that idea. One was Bose, who doesn't get all the credit that he should probably get. Like that, anything that somebody actually discovers often gets the name of the discoverer. Here, Nachiketa has not discovered this Agni. It's a ritual which has been detailed in great detail in the Brahmana portion of the Veda. So it's way before Nachiketa. But all these somebody has to teach you. If I want to do any ritual, somebody has to teach me all the steps, what materials are required, how it should be done, who should be invited, what dakshina should be given, very important. To the various ritvik who come, where should they should be seated, where should the yajamana sit, facing which direction, what should go into the Agni first. In fact, there are so many rules in this Agni Karya which we don't even know. I'm told there are two types of offerings to Agni. I just read that yesterday somewhere. One is when you offer Agni something else. You know, you've seen of many times you offer Agni various ahuti, ghee, rice, whatever else goes into the Agni. Other is when you offer Agni into Agni. That also has a specific name. So there are rules of doing this, very elaborate rules of doing this. So this particular ritual, which Yamadharma taught Nachiketa, he says, will be known by your name. The world will recognize this as Nachiketa Agni, and attribute it to you. I'm sure there are many people before that who have done this Agni because it is there in the Vedas. But because of the way Nachiketa responded to this, Yamadharma, being pleased, says this will now be known by your name. It will become famous by your name. He says, Tavaiva namna bhavita ayam agnihi. This Agni, this ritual will be known. Bhavita. Bhavita is for those who are interested in grammar, Anadyatane lat. From tomorrow. Very common expression in English. Bhavita. Will be known from tomorrow by your name. Bhashyakara opens this up for us, which we'll look at in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om
धन्यवाद।